The ocean doesn't care how famous your boat is. It doesn't care about brochures, marketing, but after 60, something else starts to matter more than storms. It's whether you can sail alone and still feel good after the boat is tied up and everything is done. So this list isn't built on dreams or reputation. It's built on effort, on fatigue, on how demanding a boat is. These are 5 sailboats that were underrated at 25, but make solo sailing sustainable after 60. One boat on this list was dismissed for decades as too conservative, yet it quietly solves the motion and recovery problem aging sailors stop talking about. Let's start with Columbia, 29 MKY at number 1. This boat is the clearest proof that solo sailing after 60 does not require an expensive, prestigious product. Designed and built in the 1960s, the Columbia 29 was once dismissed as cheap old American plastic. And yet, decades later, it still has a loyal following. Sailors who quietly defend it as a small but honest gem, built better than its reputation suggests. Next to modern wide boats, it looks small and unfashionable. Younger sailors skip it. Others mock the looks. But that reaction misses the point. The Columbia 29 is a reminder that sailing doesn't always need to be fast or sexy or impressive at the dock. As strength and recovery change with age, what matters more is reliability, low stress, and forgiveness. At just under 29 feet, everything stays within reach. Sails, cockpit, helm. The boat is well balanced and far less nervous when the wind builds. It doesn't demand the agility that many modern, beamy designs quietly require from an older solo sailor. This design understands what older sailors actually want. Early Columbia fiberglass construction was famously overbuilt. Thick, solid layup, minimal coring, fewer blister issues than later generations. There are fewer systems, fewer hidden surprises, and far less complexity. It's a boat that can be maintained DIY without demanding the strength you may no longer want to spend. If you've sailed alone long enough to feel fatigue matter more than speed, which boat or design trait changed how you sail? Many solo sailors start asking a different question. What if I want the same forgiveness, but built to stay offshore longer? That's where number 2 comes in. The Hallberg-Rassy Monsun 31. Often called the Rolls-Royce of sailing, the Monsun earned its reputation through overbuilt fiberglass, excellent construction, and a design that has aged quietly well. Younger sailors dismiss it as slow, not spacious by modern standards, but experienced sailors see something else. And when conditions deteriorate, the Monsun 31 shines. At 60, sailing solo means the boat should not demand strength from you. The Monsun was designed so that one person can manage it easily. A long keel and encapsulated ballast. A conservative masthead sloop, simple systems, and lines that can be led back to the cockpit for stress-free reefing. Hallberg-Rassy themselves remain proud of this design. On their official site, they still highlight the story of Kurt Björklund and his Monsun 31 Golden Lady. After retirement, he completed 3.5 solo circumnavigations, including rounding Cape Horn, one of the most demanding stretches of ocean on Earth. It's about trust, and its layout is protective rather than spacious. Secure handholds, a narrow cabin, and a place to rest and brace yourself when the boat is heeled. If the Columbia 29 introduced the idea of slow but forgiving, the Monsun 31 confirms something deeper. This is a boat you can trust on long solo passages when age starts to matter. If this way of thinking matches how you sail, not chasing specs, but sustainability. Consider subscribing. This channel is built around that logic. And there's another kind of misunderstanding. It's about what actually reduces fatigue when you're alone. Number 3 is the Freedom 38. Developed from the Freedom 36 in the late 1980s, the Freedom 38 uses a freestanding carbon mast, a design many still dismiss as outdated or strange. Yet that oddness is its hidden strength. After 60, complexity becomes the real enemy. Endless lines, late-night tuning, and standing rigging replacements every decade. The Freedom 38 removes much of that burden and offers a fundamentally simpler way to sail solo, without giving up offshore capability. With a displacement of around 16,000 to 17,000 pounds in deep lead ballast, the boat resists excessive heel. Its wide beam and sea-kindly hull reduce drama when conditions build. At this point, some may ask if a boat with a higher motion frequency and modest comfort ratio is truly offshore capable. This story answers that. A sailor shared his experience on a forum discussing single-handed sailors. Which boat? Freedom 38. Just did a single-hand qualifier to race solo to Hawaii. That was 200 miles out and back. I myself got beat to smithereens, but the boat handled herself. Yes, he lost the race. But the boat won. It won by keeping him safe, by reducing workload, by allowing the autopilot to do its job when fatigue took over. You don't need the fastest boat in the fleet. You need the freedom to sail alone, with a clear head and hands that aren't worn out. If this way of thinking makes sense so far, there's another list on the channel that looks at why some older sailors quietly stick with the same boats for decades. They stop asking for constant fixing. You'll find it linked on screen. And once you understand that safety isn't just about strength, the next boat challenges another old belief. Light, yet impossible to sink. The Etap 37S. It is often underrated because it comes from a niche brand and carries a premium price for one defining feature: unsinkable construction. Many sailors overlook it, yet that choice delivers real advantages for solo sailors over 60. With a ballast-to-displacement ratio around 31.5%, it's lighter than classic heavy cruisers, but not less safe. Built in the 2000s, its modern hull form, high freeboard, and spacious interior feel more forgiving than older designs. Its hull-within-a-hull closed-cell foam sandwich construction is certified unsinkable by Bureau Veritas. Even with a complete hull breach, the boat stays afloat. That same foam also provides insulation and condensation control, keeping the interior dry and comfortable, something many older sailors value deeply. For some, this becomes a boat they grow old with. I'm sailing solo and living full-time on an unsinkable Etap 37S, already 5 years on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. I like that size, it's comfortable, and I could manage it all the time. That experience makes one thing clear. Light and modern does not automatically mean higher risk when the design is centered on human endurance. Yes, the high freeboard and low lifelines raise eyebrows, but paired with an unsinkable hull and balanced helm, these are easily managed with jacklines and a harness, a smarter solution for solo sailors over 60. Which matters more for solo sailing after 60, less complexity or more protection? Share it so that everyone can learn. And the final boat on today's list, number 5, is the Amel Sharki 39. If you still want size, this is the least punishing way to get it. Yes, it's the largest boat here at 39 feet, the heaviest, at around 21,300 pounds, the most system-rich and usually the most expensive. For many solo sailors, those are reasons to walk away. But there's a reason some older sailors quietly lean in. Despite its size, the Sharki 39 doesn't demand youth. The fin keel with a skeg-hung rudder delivers a smooth, predictable, sea-kindly motion, especially when conditions deteriorate. This boat was designed for offshore reality, not weekend bravado. The masthead catch rig breaks the sail area into smaller, manageable pieces. The deep, protected center cockpit reduces exposure and fatigue. Nothing here is about speed. Everything is about control when you're alone. Yes, there are systems, but not for luxury theater. Roller furling, slab reefing, large tankage, watertight bulkheads, and on many boats, a bow thruster, all serve one purpose: reducing physical effort during docking, reefing, and long passages. More systems do mean more maintenance, but once properly refit, the payoff is years of safer, lower-strain solo sailing, especially in retirement. After 60, the goal isn't to sail the biggest boat. It's to sail the biggest boat that doesn't ask more from you than you can give. And that's the core of the Amel Sharki 39. So here's the practical way to choose from this list, based on how much the boat asks from you. If you want the lowest effort and maximum forgiveness, the Columbia 29 keeps solo sailing simple and manageable. If you want that same calm, but built to stay offshore longer, the Monsun 31 adds proven construction and predictable motion. If fatigue is your real enemy, not weather, the Freedom 38 reduces workload differently. Fewer lines, simpler rig, steadier sailing. If you believe safety is about staying functional, not just staying afloat, the Etap 37S challenges the idea that heavy always means safe. And if you still want size, without paying for it physically, the Amel Sharki 39 is the controlled exception. Different boats, same assumption. If you want to go deeper into how experienced sailors make these choices, there's another video on the channel that breaks down the same logic, without romance or marketing. Here is for you.